there are a lot of things that people screw up with email marketing. But I would say probably the most frequent thing that I see, the number one thing, is not sending enough campaigns. And I would put that even above having messed up flows, pop-up forms. Like almost nobody is sending enough campaigns because they just don't know what to send. They're like, well, what would I send outside of discounts? What would I send? Sending 5 times a week or whatever, 4 times a week is too much. Like people would get pissed off and they wouldn't want that many emails in their inbox. I don't have time. Tons of excuses, and some valid and some not. But number one, it's always campaigns. Like just people do not have a good campaign strategy, and it all starts with a content calendar, planning out on what days you're going to send what content around what sales, what seasonality, what makes sense for your brand. And with ChatGPT, with AI nowadays, it's pretty simple. You can take 10 minutes once a month and plan out what you're going to send. So that's exactly what we're going to do this video. I'm just going to give you a live example. This will be for the month of March. I'm going to use this brand called Years Beer, which is a past and current client of mine. This is actually John Mulaney's brand, who is a fairly big, well-known comedian in the US. So it was super fun to work with them, and I'm continuing to work with them. It's super fun. So I'm just going to use them as an example. They are a beverage brand, so they're in store. They're more of like a retail play, but they do have this D2C arm. As you can see, they have a nice, fun, playful website, and their product is non-alcoholic. So the idea is, you can add years to your life and enjoy them without the detriment of consuming alcohol. So I think, we could do a lot of cool stuff with this sort of brand that uses humor. They have a comedian as their spokesperson, but really any brand has a lot of different angles that they can utilize. So we're going to get into it right here. I got no fancy AI set up. I'm literally just going to use normal old ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT 5.2. Just going to give it a few prompts and we'll see what it spits out. So first things first, we're going to take the website. I'm going to tell ChatGPT I want to make a content calendar for the month of March. This is for Years Beer, and then you can put the link to the website. Please read the website and look over the product categories so that you are informed on the product before we move forward. I can spell. So that's the easy way to get AI to just consume a bunch of information. Just give it the website and it'll read it. So great, I've reviewed Years Beer, so we can build a strong content calendar for March based on their products and brand. Here's a summary of what I found, and you can just kind of look over it and make sure it's accurate. Overview of Years Beer and its main product categories: non-alcoholic draft beers, classic pale, original pilsner, Belgian wit. Spot on. Club and membership, merch, additional themes, content. It's already given me a content calendar, but we're gonna give it some more specifics first. Okay, so I'll just say great. This is specifically an email marketing campaign content calendar. I want to have one 72-hour sale during the month of March. Ideally, this can be relevant to the brand. Non-alcoholic beverage. Realistically, you would already know what sales you want to run, but just for the example here, I'm just going to have one 72-hour sale, and maybe this can be related to it being a non-alcoholic beverage brand. That's kind of the idea. But most brands, I would say one sale a month would make sense, but maybe not. But outside of that, I want to have a completely non-discount oriented campaign strategy. Okay, so all the other emails outside of when you have a sale are are going to be non-discount oriented. So just cool stuff that people want to open, that they find value in, humor, education, whatever the case may be, without any sort of discount. And these can convert better than your sale emails. Okay. I want all emails to be extremely on brand and, utilizing humor and the copy style that is found on their website. Okay, that, again, I would just lean on the website as much as you can. Usually the website, well, hopefully the website has the design and copy that they want to portray. So leaning on the website is always a good idea. And if you were to make a campaign calendar manually just by writing stuff down on a physical calendar, more often than not, you can literally just pick parts out of a website and create campaigns. So for instance, the classic pale product highlight can be a campaign, right? Same with the original Pilsner, Belgian Wit. Another campaign could be just this section right here, like join the Society of Leisure. Here are the perks that you get. They have reviews down here. You can do review highlight campaigns. This can be in a campaign. You just elaborate these 3 sections, right? Full flavor, zero hangover, brewed like regular beer. That's unique. Not all non-alcoholic beers are brewed like a regular beer. It's like, I guess, regular beer that then they stripped alcohol, but this is brewed regularly from the jump. And then honest ingredients, like these all can be campaigns. Another great one, how we brew years, milling and mashing. Like, that's interesting to people. How is this? How is it brewed? So you can really just lean on the website when making these campaigns. And this is funny because John Mulaney is a spokesperson. This could be a campaign. You can drink a ton of these and not get fucked up at all. That could literally just be a campaign, and then having a picture of John Mulaney right here, and then a call to action. That could be a campaign right there. So there you go, just to give you some other examples. So far, we say, okay, great, this is specifically an email marketing campaign content calendar. I want to have one 72-hour sale during the month of March. Ideally, this can be relevant to the brand, aka non-alcoholic beverage. Outside of that, I want to have a completely non-discount oriented campaign strategy. I want all emails to be extremely on brand, utilizing humor and the copy style that is found on their website. And different products have different campaigns that you can use, right? So fashion, for instance, you're not really going to have a lot of education there. Usually just like a t-shirt is a t-shirt, unless it is some sort of performance t-shirt. You're just going to showcase, like women's fashion, for instance. But for other products like CPG products, for supplements, products that require more education, you want to be pretty specific with the features, so that that's what converts people. Like specific, the more detailed the angle can be. So it's not like super general and vague, like here's what's great about our product. It's like, this is exactly what makes our product awesome. That's the type of stuff that converts. So that's another thing I want to mention here to my friendly ChatGPT helper here is the best angles here are extremely specific to the brand and products. Okay, so ideally not a bunch of vague angles and campaign ideas. We prefer specific, honed in angles. All right. Last but not least, we will say we want to send 3 campaigns a week. And then you can determine a sending cadence like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. That's usually something that I would test and see what days work best. But I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday is a pretty good cadence. Those are days that perform well, especially Monday and Wednesday. So I'm going to mention Monday, Wednesday, if I can spell. Never spell Wednesday. I don't know if that's only me, but I literally can never spell Wednesday. And Friday. All right, so we've had it read the website. It's informed on all the products. And then we just gave it specifics on what type, we want to run one sale. If you had another sale in mind, obviously give it the dates there. We've mentioned specifically email marketing, obviously. Outside of that sale, we want it completely non-discount. We all the emails to be extremely on brand, utilizing humor and the copy style that is found on their website. I say humor because it's a comedian that's on the face of the brand. That might not be the case for another brand, though. Obviously, it depends on the case. And then I mentioned to it, the best angles here are extremely specific to the brand and product. So ideally not a bunch of vague angles and campaign ideas. We prefer specific honed in angles. That's very important. We want to send 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So let's see what it comes up with. So year's beer, March email calendar. Themes for March, clear nights, better stories. I think that's pretty on brand. That's great. March is social. There's St. Patrick's Day, March Madness, warmer weather. The angle you can show up to everything and still feel like yourself the next morning. I feel like that's good. And those are good points. We have March Madness. That's very on brand here for the customer demographic. Warmer weather, right? We're getting up towards summer in a few months, spring now. People might want to be outside with their friends. That's awesome. St. Patrick's Day, I think that's great. So week 1, March 3rd, you don't actually miss hangovers. Angle, confront the lie. A witty internal monologue about romanticizing wild nights followed by a hard pivot to the reality of 8 a.m. regret. I think we can incorporate some humor there. That's great. Core message, you like beer, you don't like headaches. There is a third option. I think that's great. The call to action could be drink like you mean tomorrow. Maybe some work there. I'd probably do something else there. I don't think that's a great call to action. Just simplify it, shop now, something like that. But I think that's a good angle. You don't actually miss hangovers. Wednesday, March 5th, Pilsner people versus Pale Ale people. That's funny. I wouldn't have thought of that. So kind of tribal identity. Break down the difference between Pilsner and Pale, Belgian wit. This feels very on brand and playful. I think this could work. It could also be helpful for some information on your customer demographic. What do people prefer? How much of them are there for a specific product versus another one? So that one, I like that subject. Next one for March 7th, weekend energy without the weekend penalty. The Friday switch, product focus, classic pale, keep tomorrow intact. Okay, we have week 2. So that's week 1. I think that's pretty good. Week 2, we have this is not a dry email. Anti-dry culture positioning. Yours isn't punishment. It's not a cleanse. It's not a resolution. It's just beer without alcohol. Repurpose non-alcohol beer or drinking as a lifestyle, not a restriction. I think that's good. I think that matches with the angle they're trying to hit. How we make beer without ruining beer. I think that's good. I think that's very just straightforward and not beating around the bush at all, which is on brand for them. So this is behind the scenes of brewing. I think that's perfect. March 14th, the Society of Leisure is recruiting. I love that angle. That's funny because that's their subscription group, and it's funny that they say it's recruiting. I think that's a great angle. This stuff like this, I probably wouldn't have thought of, honestly. So that's why it's great to use AI. A low effort, position it like a low effort cult. That's kind of funny and on brand. Okay, week 3 here, we have St. Patrick's. This is when it's doing a 72-hour sale. Luck favors the clear. Okay, I think we could work with the angle there, the name, but I do like luck favors the something, luck favors the bold, luck favors the non-hungover, whatever the case may be. You don't need luck when you remember the night. Okay, I think we can work with that. So a lot of these, we can work with them. They're not perfect, but we can work with it, and it gives me a lot of good ideas. But very least, what I love is I'm good with all the dates, obviously. It's given me that. And I like the subject lines. I like that main angle. And then we can work from there, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. March 17th, luck favors it clear. Just went over that. It's giving me recommendations for a sale. Then on the 19th, still lucky. The real flex, remembering the group chat. I think that's kind of funny. Yeah, you could play on the luck there. And then last call, that's a sale reminder. Okay, last week of March, we have beer for people who have plans tomorrow. I like that. I think that's funny. Wednesday pairings you haven't tried yet, so that's good. Classic Pale plus Smash Burger. Oh, I think this is great. This is incorporating some other things outside of just beer that you drink or eat with beer. I think that's awesome. Classic Pale plus Smash Burger, Belgian Whip plus Fish Tacos, Pilsner plus Backyard Playlist. You can even add some reviews to each or how much you recommend it. I think that's great. March 20th, the morning after. 2 columns, traditional Saturday morning, left versus right, the year's Saturday morning. Okay, I think that's all right. I think it's getting a little redundant at this point. The, comparing between the night before and the night after. So maybe we have some work to do. But I think overall, this is great. I'll just give it some feedback here, and you would probably as well once you give ChatGPT these prompts and have it, speak back to you. I'll probably say, I think the morning after angle is a bit redundant. I think it's good to use some, but we use it a bit too frequently here. Because that is true. Like people will to some degree remember these emails, even though it seems like people nowadays don't really remember anything. Okay, so let's see. Now it's reworking it. Revised March email strategy. Dayton, be there fully. Identity and taste. But I mean, I think you guys get the point here, right? I don't need to go over this again. But usually how this works, again, 10 minutes. Once you get this down once, you can just repeat it. So I get this down for this brand. And ChatGPT will remember it. And then if I want to do it for another brand, I can just say, look, I want to do the same process, but for this brand. And here are the differences that I want. Here's the information you need for this brand. And you can just run like that. Most cases, obviously it would just be for one brand though. So once you get the campaign content calendar down the first time for 1 month, the second month will be pretty easy because ChatGPT will remember everything. So literally 10 to 20 minutes of you just going back and forth with chat, talking about, hey, this is not quite right. I need to add this, we need this angle. It's not quite on brand. The great thing about AI is once it understands, once it gets it and you say, this is it, this is perfect. This is how I want content calendars to look moving forward. I like the angle. I like the vibe. I like the copy, or the, the product highlights, the cadence. Once you have that there, and again, we'll take literally 20 minutes one time, then you can just rinse and repeat for every month. And you have your strategy. You know what you need to send. I recommend doing this probably a week or two before the upcoming month, so you know what you need to send out. And you can literally just send text-based emails if you don't want to design stuff or throw some images in there. It doesn't need to be fancy. The most important thing is that these emails just go out. You just send them out. That's the most important thing. You have the strategy and you just make sure you send the emails out. They don't need to be pretty. They just need to be on brand and have good angles, and you're sending them consistent. I'm telling you, that's the most important thing. So many brands just do not send emails and they leave that money on the table. Money, engagement, staying top of mind. People just remember you. They're aware of you because they see your messaging. Anyways, I think I'll end the video there. Hopefully you get the point. It's worth doing this. Spend 10 to 20 minutes once a month doing it, and it will set you up for success. Anyways, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And until next time, have a good one. Peace.